أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Respected viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Asif Ali Parvez and this is my presentation number 24. And as you know, the theme of my presentation is Holy Quran and Science. Today I will talk about the darkness number 3. I've spoken already about the radio waves, microwaves, and this is third one, infrared images. And today, in fact, in my previous program, I also spoke about the infrared wave. And today I will talk specifically about the infrared images of celestial bodies. Celestial bodies mean like sun, like other galaxies, stars, and that kind of thing. First of all, I want to go back to Holy Quran. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Alhamdulillahillazi khalaqas samawati wal arda wa ja'ala as-sulumati wan nur. And its translation is, all praise belongs to Allah, who have created the heavens and the earth and brought into being every kind of darkness and light. Surah Al-An'am, verse 2. And the key points are, all praise belongs to Allah, who has created heavens and earth and every kind of darkness and, of course, light. Now, I've shown you this picture many times before, but as I said, today I'm talking about infrared, which is my second program on infrared. Now, if we take the picture of the sun in normal light, visible light, this is how the picture looks like. There is too much information, and we, the scientists, like to focus on specific things. Obviously, it's a very, very important image of sun because it gives you the total picture, a holistical picture of the sun. But scientists like to observe sun under different condition. So we want to know how would sun look like as infrared. Now, infrared is the heat, is heat. So heat is another name of infrared rays. And 50% of heat which comes from sun is in the form of infrared. No, I rephrase it that the most of the heat, which is 50%, 50% is light, we can say, and a little bit other things as well. But most of the heat is in the form of infrared rays. Now, naturally, as one can imagine, too much heat is bad, and so is too much infrared is dangerous. However, Allah Ta'ala has made some wonderful arrangement. The gracious God have done something which I will explain. I have to give again a series of lectures, but message is this, that most of it is absorbed by the atmosphere. Obviously, it comes to us as well in an amount which we need. Now, this is a picture of the sun, which is taken with this is the infrared picture of the sun. So ordinary light is taken away. What we use different type of telescopes, and in the telescope there are different kinds of lenses, so they filter out the one which we are not interested. So this one is showing us the infrared image of the sun. Now note there are some dark marking which you can see all over the place, and these dark marking shows where infrared is absorbed, because remember, infrared comes from where the hydrogen bombs are exploding, like any other thing, and they are happening in the core of the sun. So when they comes out, a lot of it is absorbed, and what this marking is showing, that there is more gas in this area. And the other thing it is showing is that temperature in the dark area is little bit cooler, is relatively cooler than the other area. So point is this, that using infrared images, we can deduct a lot of information which are of great use to the scientist. Now I'm showing you some nebulas. What is a nebula? Nebula is, when the stars have, burst, then we call it supernova. So then they end up like nebula. So nebula is, a lot of dust, lot of gases, and a lot of other, high energy particles are there. So this is a photograph or image taken by Hubble telescope. You must have heard the Hubble telescope, which is flying, up above in space. So it can actually detect, they can take the infrared picture of it. And note there are some like fingers there. This is very important. And these fingers are not just the fingers of the human being. These could be millions of light years long. Just think about it. Millions of light years long. And these are where we scientists believe stars are created. So you could call them that it is a star nursery. So through looking at the infrared, we can see where the stars are actually being created by God Almighty. Now, scientists had also made, these telescopes which are on the Earth as well, at very high altitude, and they also try to observe because infrared is still, goes through a bit of the atmosphere. So you can do it. This is a laboratory in America called Place Wymount, and it's quite high, and it's much above the water vapors. And the result is that we are able to get some image. But as I said before, the infrared are absorbed. Most of them are absorbed by the atmosphere. So still the pictures are fuzzy. But having said that, because sending the satellite up in the air is a very expensive business, it costs hundreds of, millions of dollars or pounds. So scientists use whatever facilities available. Now, scientists have been sending, the laboratories in this space. So I want to mention few key laboratories. One is called as the Infrared Astronomical Satellite, or in short, IRAS. This was launched in 1983, and it was a collaborative collaboration between NASA and the Netherlands Agency for Space and the UK Science and Engineering Research Council. Because as I said, these satellites are not cheap. So normally different companies join together so that they share the cost. And this is a picture which is taken, in the infrared of our Milky Way. Then another telescope was launched, which is called IRT, or Infrared Telescope. That was launched in 1985. And they use the space shuttle. Now, space shuttle is now stopped. The program is stopped. It's not flying anymore. But, good few years they used to fly. And they are a wonderful machine because you can use them and reuse them. So they act like, in simple words, like an airplane, if I can use that phrase. So, in fact, I had the chance to go to Kennedy, Space Center, and I had seen one of the, this shuttle, which is obviously as part of the museum over there. But important thing is when this IRT was launched, it discovered a lot of asteroid. What is asteroid? Asteroid are, lump of rocks, if I can use that, and that could be quite big, and could be 2 miles, 10 miles, whatever they are. And comets are another form of asteroid. So because they emit infrared rays, so even though they are not like stars that they have their own light, but having said that, when the sunlight falls on it, the light emits. So scientists can discover this, and then they can study it. And in some program later, I will explain how, for example, water came. So by studying these asteroids or comets, they can work out what is the chemistry of what kind of elements are there, what kind of gases are coming. Now this picture which I'm showing you is a galaxy called Sombrero Galaxy, which is millions of light years away from this Earth. Now I'm showing you another nebula. It is called Carina Nebula. And as I said, nebula is a cloud of gas and dust out in space. And they are so bright because this is, as I said before, they are like the mother of stars. So that's where the stars are born. So they are very visible, even on a good night when it's absolutely clear. One can even see those nebulas. Now, scientists obviously are very interested in the understanding the universe through infrared. And I have already told you there are two techniques. One is they send the satellites, which of course is very, very expensive. And secondly, they have a ground-based telescope, but as I said, their images are not as clear as one would want it to. So what somebody clever person came to idea, said, why don't we fit a infrared telescope in a jumbo jet 747? And I have flown many times because I've worked in the airline for 25 years, and most of you must have flown. I mean, normally it flies around, let's say, around 35,000 feet, but it can go much higher than that. So this particular airplane, it goes to the upper limit, where the atmosphere is less. It has to fly in the atmosphere because that's where the engines of this 747 get their oxygen. So it can't fly in space. So, but the beauty of this is that you can use it again and again. So airplane can take off, go to the certain height and focus on one part of the sky, take a lot of pictures, come back, and then another mission. So this is again a very wonderful way for doing this. And as I said, initially started in year 2009, but scientists are using it quite a lot. Now, infrared, I keep saying this and I know harm in repeating that it is very useful to see distant objects. And the reason is this, that heat comes from those distant objects. Sometimes light, dims, but heat keeps coming. And the result is scientists have discovered many nebulae, galaxies. So one can say this is a wonderful eye as far as scientists are concerned to observe the universe. Now, in my next program, I will talk about visible light. I know I have already made a couple of programs about visible light, but next program, I will talk about laser technology. Now, laser is something which use ordinary light. So what does it do? Inshallah, I will be describing them. So please do watch that program number 25, in which I will explain how laser is used and what are its uses in the industry and in surgery, for example. Thank you very much for listening to me. Jazakallah khair. God bless you. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen.